people of the internet, and welcome to the return of classic gaming. Today we're going to talk about Heroscape. Right. Now, to start things off, some background info. Heroscape is a collectible miniatures battle game made by Hasbro from 2004 to 2010. According to the story from the rulebook, this game is about a great war in Valhalla in which Valkyrie generals bring together great warriors from all areas of time and space to do battle for control of these mystic wellsprings of power. This story exists basically just to give a reason for one of the game's main selling points. The units are a mixed bag of just about everything. In a given battle, you can have, for example, some men in black and a group of samurai led by a Roman gladiator fighting against a squad of alien invaders, a troll, and Captain America. The other neat thing about it is that unlike most miniature games where you can use your normal tabletop or whatever you have handy for terrain or maybe a poster map, in Heroscape you can actually build your terrain with Lego-like hex tiles, representing such field types such as grassland, desert, rocks, snow, and water. While a pretty cool idea, this is kind of a double-edged sword. On the other hand, you can make all sorts of different maps to play with. On the other hand, you have to build your terrain from scratch every time you play, which can take up a good amount of time. Have special rules, which are not included in the main rulebook. You've only got snow or other special tiles in the booster packs, which presumably also contain the rules for them. Now, because this is an officially dead game, you are more likely to find pieces of this game used. Most of ours came from flea market or secondhand stores, which means you are most likely are going to have to look online to find the rules for special terrain, even if you are lucky enough to get the main rulebook. Each unit has a card that gives unit stats. Each card has two sides, one for each mode of the two modes of play, Basic and Master Rules. Basic is a simplified version of the game intended for starting players. The rules are simpler. Units have no special abilities, and one hit destroys both squad and hero models. Master Rules can be seen as the full game. There are more detailed rules, the units have special skills, and so on. The basic stats of the units are the same of either set. Life is how many hits a character in the unit can take before being defeated. In the basic game, it is always one. Move is how many hexes the character on the card can move. Attack is how many dice you can roll when the unit attacks. Defense is how dice can roll when the unit is attacked. Range is how many hexes away the unit can attack from. That last point may cause some confusion to players in other games that treat melee and range attacks differently, as those games, when played on a grid, usually give a melee attackers a range of 0, and noting that hand-to-hand attacks only target adjacent units. This game, however, treats melee and ranged attacks mostly the same. So units that are only melee fighters all have a range of 1. Other things on the card include traits such as race and class. These do nothing for their own, except for size, which tells how high the unit can climb in one turn and how far up or down they can reach to hit adjacent units. Some special abilities may use these traits, such as a hero giving allied orcs a bonus. Each unit also has a special ability. These range from simple bonuses in certain situations to more complex things, such as a mind control. Like most games, this is where most arguments about rules will come, as the wording can be vague on some cards. Also, there is no real difference between ranged and hand-to-hand attacks. Abilities that would otherwise only work on melee or ranged attacks instead say on adjacent attacks or attacks within a range of 2 or greater respectively, which, while not particularly confusing, just adds more words that would normally be needed to the cards. Without going too deep into the rules, the game flows like this. Players decide on a scenario such as capture the flag or simply defeating the enemy army. They also decide on a scale. In the basic game, this is simply the number of army cards each player gets. In the master game, the units have a point cost, so the players decide on a point limit that cannot be exceeded. If you're playing right out of the box, then these players take turns choosing cards draft style. Otherwise, you come with your own pre-made army like the other games. You then set your army in pre-agreed upon starting areas on the map and roll a 20-sided die to see who goes first. In the basic game, players simply take turns choosing a unit, be it a single hero or a whole squad, to move and then, if they want, are able to attack. In the master game, players first put these order tokens on the units he wants to use. He must use those units, one pre-turn in numbered order, with one token being a decoy. When all 3 tokens are used, they are reassigned and the die is rolled again to see who goes first in this new round. As for attacking and defending, this game uses its own special die rather than the normal numbered ones you're probably used to. Depending on when your set was made, you either get red die with skulls and blue dice with shields, or white dice with both. Either way, the dice are technically the same because the number of skulls and shields on each are the same. When you attack, you roll. Each skull counts as a hit. Then the defender rolls for shields. Each shield blocks a skull. Play continues until a player meets the winning condition the players decided on. All in all, I feel this is a fairly good game. Simple enough to work as a first game for starter players without being too simple. The mixture of many genres, from fantasy to sci-fi, is a nice touch. The figures have fairly good sculpts and paint jobs, but are made of soft plastic, so are prone to bending if not stored carefully. The main stumbling block to it is simply getting the pieces and rules, since you can't find it in normal stores anymore. But if you can't find it, I do recommend it.